really do feel like I'm living in the twilight zone more and more. I know a lot of you do as well. Thanks for joining us. It's Wednesday. Already, the first day, it's hard to believe, of August 2012, and we will be here for the next 3 hours. Wow. Where to begin? It finally broke in a big way in mainstream media yesterday. In the London Guardian, the Associated Press, the Asia Times, but really all over the place, that the main force, in fact, the majority of the fighters in Syria are al-Qaeda. Now that was the case over a year ago when the whole Libya liberation, and I say that as a joke, by the Peace Prize president started. And we had guests on, multiple guests from Tripoli and other areas, like Tarpley. In fact, we should get Tarpley on sometime this week, just on this Syria situation, before we go off into how wonderful big government is. But I do want to get Tarpley's take on all this. Max Keiser is going to be joining us coming up in the third hour. He says the collapse is imminent. And I really don't usually hear him talk like that. He says there's going to be a collapse at J.P. Morgan and stuff like that down the road because they're derivatives. And since then, it's turned out it was $1 billion, $2 billion, $8 billion, $10 billion, $20 billion, $40 billion. And of course, all that's leverage. So a billion's more like hundreds of billions, depending on how the derivatives are structured. So all of that is coming up today here on the worldwide transmission. And as usual, I'm getting to the point where I'm just completely overwhelmed. I know a lot of you are. It's all just cuckoo land crazy, the news we've got. It's crazy. It is so bizarre, all of it. I don't even know how to respond to it. I mean, we knew it was coming, but to see it unfold is quite another thing. So we're going to be going over Al-Qaeda turns the tide for rebels in battle for eastern Syria, and then the article basically goes on to describe them as freedom fighters. And of course, I predicted that down the road, we would see a move to then invade Syria and Libya to deal with al-Qaeda. NATO funds al-Qaeda, the U.S. funds al-Qaeda, the so-called interests that have hijacked our nations do. And then we'll have to have of course, occupation, as is now happening all over Africa, to stop the spread of the rats that the Pied Piper himself has released. It's the old Pied Piper story. And they're getting ready for this big battle between Shiites and Sunnis with the West. Well, the Ayatollah, the head honcho, said war within weeks. That's the kind of news we have here today. And so it'll be the Wahhabi-backed al-Qaeda jihading all of the moderate states like Egypt, Libya, and Syria, getting rid of them, and then jihading around and putting women back in burqas and all the rest of it on TV. And then it will, at the same time, be bomb the daylights out of the Iranians and attack Hezbollah forces in Lebanon. And then the news is going to say, when there's terror attacks in the country, al-Qaeda did it, and that al-Qaeda is based in Iran. That's like saying Lex Luthor is the friend of Spider-Man, or is Spider-Man. Of course, it's a character from a whole different genre, but anyone who knows comic books would understand that instantly. Or it'd be like saying Lex Luthor is actually Superman. People are like, well, that's obviously not true. Well, I mean, it's the same thing here. They're always saying Iran runs al-Qaeda. It's like saying Coke runs Pepsi, or Chevy runs Ford, or the 49ers are the Redskins. I mean, it's just not true. But it doesn't matter. The public knows football, and they know comic book characters. They don't know who al-Qaeda is, who Hezbollah is, and that is why we're slaves. That is why we fail. Well, the head Ayatollah over in Iran is saying that there will be war with the West within weeks. We're going to be going over that. Paul Watson has an article on that at Infowars.com. They are relaunching Kony 2012, even though it was exposed as a total PR stunt fraud, as a pretext to invade every country of Africa. They've had Congress try to pass resolutions saying they can invade any country because of Kony, who hasn't been seen in almost 6 years. and controlled a few hundred square miles. Coney 2012 style PR stunt to sell war on Syria. And they've also been caught putting out fake photos of massacres, fake television broadcast of massacres. And we're going to be showing some of that if you're watching at prisonplanet.tv. If not, just go to Paul Watson's article. Also, Aaron Dykes wrote an article last night going over all of that. Wag the Dog Media published Photoshop forgery. In fact, we could show that right now. To sell image of war-torn Syria. And you can see the real image on bottom, and on top, they put the bombed-out city behind them. This is standard. In fact, if we go to Aaron Dykes' article, it's more detailed than that one. It's titled, Wag the Dog Media published Photoshop forgery to sell image of war-torn Syria. We show when CNN got caught doing fake broadcast and showing dead bodies they themselves had al-Qaeda kill. I mean, it's just beyond throwing baby out of incubator lies that turned out was totally made up to say, well, we have to attack Iraq. They threw babies out of incubators. And they have gone beyond that now. And every major city across eastern Syria is run by al-Qaeda. And they are just lining up Jews and Christians and killing them, blowing up churches, blowing up synagogues, because that was one of the most open societies for religion in the Middle East. And the women were most of the college graduates and did not wear burqas. Well, they are now. They're going to be sexually mutilated. They're going to wear burqas. And they're going to be CIA funded and commanded. And you better shut up and accept it. What are you? Anti-American? You got to support al-Qaeda. This is how ridiculous it is. This is why I said 9/11 is an inside job. Al-Qaeda was created by the bankers that run this country. Al-Qaeda is protected against Russia, against the Serbs. They are used everywhere. A lot of times the low-level jihadis below them actually believe in what they're doing. But the people on top of it are, on record, British intelligence, U.S. intelligence, and Israeli intelligence. Occasionally German, French, or Pakistan intelligence. Turkish intelligence. They are how many years have I told you? A decade at least. That al-Qaeda is the sword of the New World Order. I've called al-Qaeda the key of the New World Order, the skeleton key. What's a skeleton key do? Well, if you've got, say, an office building, and you've got, say, almost 50 people, like we have working in this 16,000 square foot facility, there are certain doors, like IT rooms, that you have to have a master key. I have a master key, a skeleton key that opens every door in this facility. And that is what the New World Order is. I have a master code. We've got code locks as well that will open the doors. I have a skeleton key. And that's what al-Qaeda is. It is just a made-up, cut-out army where they can organize jihadis, terrorist groups, mercenaries, MI6, SAS commandos, dress them up. It's just a cutout of why is there a checkpoint on the highway, mommy? Why is there a drone? Why are they trying to force me with with a shot? Why is the IRS taking money out of my bank account? No judge, no jury. Well, honey, things changed after 9/11, where they ran drills of the towers being blown up. Tripod 2 that day. They said it wasn't true at the time, later confirmed in congressional testimony. I can go on for about 10 hours if you like on 9/11. The official story is a lie, and it was used to take our freedoms. And now, in the LA Times, Associated Press, French News Agency, London Guardian, Asia Times, German national television are reporting that al-Qaeda works for NATO. Al-Qaeda always worked for NATO. It isn't, oh, they made him in 79 under Zbigniew Brzezinski, and then they used him in the 80s against the Russians, and then they turned bad. No. Larry King Live, 2 days after 9/11, somebody's got to find it, had Bandar Bush on. That's his nickname, the Saudi prince, the U.S. ambassador from Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia's ambassador to the U.S., and Larry King was calling him a coward and a scum, calling bin Laden that. And he said, do not do this, my friend. He is a great man. He is known as hero. And Larry King went, oh, I got you. Yeah, okay, and moved on. See, because over there, he's a hero. used to radicalize to then create new armies. You understand, the bankers took over America. So they've got an al-Qaeda force that will attack us or take the blame for attacks. And Saudi Arabia supplies its intelligence agents who do drills, which they believe, helps. Oh, we're going to do some drills to see if we can hijack jets. You'll just see if you can get on board with box cutters and stuff. They nerve gas them. That's what the only real calls that got through on airphones were, there's gas, we can't breathe. Multiple aircraft, look it up. You put them on board, you nerve gas them. They were all trained at U.S. military bases, highest security clearances. And I've interviewed the head of the U.S. Embassy when they were ordered to let them in. They said, don't worry, they're not really terrorists. That's their cover designation. I could literally go for 10 hours straight. In fact, I think when we do that 24-hour marathon transmission that we'll do for the, what will it be, 5th annual Money Bomb? The fundraising to buy new equipment and hire more people. I pledge here that I will begin when I'm fresh at 11 a.m. on that day, and I will go for 10 hours straight. Then I'll have other guest hosts, people in for the rest of the transmission, be back in the morning. I will do the ultimate 9/11 expose. Because I've done 3, 4, 5 hour radio shows. I've got files everywhere, just total proof. I will do that. We will do that. We will spend 10 hours here on air just giving it to you, okay? Because let me tell you, you look into 9/11, honey, baby, it's an inside job. They're like, how dare you say our firefighters do it? That's the weird meme that Popular Mechanics and all the rest of them try to use, being government funded. And the great masters of yellow journalism, inside job, they're like, oh, well, you're saying they blew up the building. You're saying the firefighters did it. I'm like, excuse me? I didn't say anything about firefighters. They were told, get back. It was being brought down for its safety. And a lot of them have spoken out on this show. They always juxtapose the heroes versus us. We're the bad men. No, we're just people that are willing to face the facts. The facts are the facts. Even if you live in denial that 9/11 wasn't an inside job, it still is. It's still sitting right there. And the people running things are involved in it. NORAD stood down. There were drills of the buildings being hit, including the Pentagon, CIA drills. All the same stories, all the same MO, all the same setup. And I've been sitting here on countless talk radio shows when they go, Alex, how dare you say the U.S. government did this? I didn't say the post office did it. I didn't say an FBI agent that investigates local bank robberies did it. I didn't say the average person in the military did it. But yeah, I said the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff was involved. Had to be. They ordered the stand down. I've got the order that's public where Cheney took the shoot-down powers away from him a month and a half before and gave it back to him a week after. I've interviewed survivors in the Pentagon. I've done my work. I've done my research. I know what happened. But here we are today. They think you're so stupid. The system thinks you're so dumb. They put out fake newscast with fake machine gun fire. Remember CNN got caught not even being in Israel or Kuwait with nerve gas hitting and things, but they were sending out the feed on the satellite and folks recorded it, people at other networks and